Well, hello, my beautiful Taurians. How are you, my gorgeous ones? So, we've got a big month coming up in November. We have a very active sky, and for this reason, I'm not going to go too deep into any one thing, because I wanted to kind of let you guys see all of it. So, we've got Jupiter changing signs, but as he changes the sign, he leaves a gift of that thing that you've been working on all year, that goal that you've had. Then we have the North Node and the South Node changing signs. We have a lot of stuff. So, welcome everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities, including astrology, tarot, mediumship, all kinds of stuff, hypnotherapy, to help you on your path. So, my gorgeous ones, listen, for the month of November, the highest viewed video in the month of December, so whatever sign is the highest viewed video, the month of December will get a full Celtic spread, tarot reading, and a full astrological reading, which I'll go over pretty much every day. We'll look at aspects and all that kind of stuff. So be sure and be the most viewed video. Share this out, like this, watch this, and I do thank all of you that have been with me for such a long time. I really appreciate you. So I just wanted to mention that before we got started. Again, we do have an active sky. You can always, if I'm going too fast, you can always rewind this, but I don't want to like go too deep into anything. So on the first, right off the bat, Venus is already retrograde, but it changes signs into Libra, right? And I'm about to do the Venus retrograde series, and then I'm going to do the Pluto series, and I'm going to do December's. Actually, I'm going to do the nodes and then December's. So there'll be videos coming out pretty much every day. All right, so for Venus, this is your ruling planet, right? So you know all about beauty and love and luck and money, right? And so with Venus being in retrograde and being in Scorpio, it's a little bit different than when it moves into Libra. So there's been some chaos, there's been some push and pull, there's been some kind of figuring out what you want to do, how you're going to have your schedule, how you're going to make your money, how you're going to let go of money, how you're going to let go of people, how you're going to keep people, what your schedule is going to be like in your daily activity, what you're doing with your health and well-being. That's all where Venus had been. Sorry, that's all. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's where Venus is going into. Sorry, it's going into Libra because it was in Scorpio. It's going into Libra. So all of that was going on in your seventh house, the relationships, the relationships about your money, the relationships that you have with yourself, the relationship that you have with others. There was some amending, revising, editing, all of that stuff. And then it moves, it's going to, so there was probably a little bit of chaos, probably a little bit of push and pull. You're still trying to figure this out. It isn't done yet. And then it's moved into Libra on the 1st of November, where it's going to start to calm down, right? Because Venus is your ruling planet and it's Libra's ruling planet, right? So it likes to be in its home. It likes to be in your house, and it likes to be in your sign, and it likes to be in Libra's sign. So as it's retrograding into Libra, and it'll retrograde back to 25 degrees, and then it'll turn direct, and then it'll go forward again. But these issues that you've been dealing with probably in the last 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to have one more chance at them when Venus comes back around to that, okay, to finish it up. But while it's in, and I apologize for the dogs barking, while it's in Libra, you'll see that things are going to calm down. It will actually gift, Venus will gift money, gift stability in relationships, gift the partnership kind of thing, the balance in all of this. So yeah, let me say this. You'll find that when it's in Libra, you'll see that others are going to do for you rather than you putting so much work in and nobody helping out. It could have been that way where you've been putting all the work in, you've been trying to change this, you've been doing this, and nobody wants to move, which is kind of odd for Taurus, because I know you guys can move. I know somebody got upset with me because they were like, not all Taurus are that way. And they're not all stuck, and they're not blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, well, you're kind of showing that that's what you are right now, that you're doing this. But Um, First of all, this is a general reading. So when I say general, that means not everybody. There's different aspects in your chart. You can be a Taurus sun and have an ascending Cancer that's like at 29 degrees, and so you're going to probably behave and look and act more like a Cancer than a Taurus. Yes, you'll have some attributes and characteristics of the Taurus, and you may even feel like a Taurus because that's your sun. It's your consciousness, right? It's your ego, but you may act in the way that people see you, maybe more Cancer if you have that. So everybody's chart is different. This is a general reading. And so if you have questions about that or need help with that, that's why I do private personal readings. So anyway, back to Venus. As it's going into Libra, this is going to be in your daily house, daily activities, your schedule. But because Venus is in Libra, it's going to produce something. So in Scorpio, you probably weren't making, if it was about money that you're focused on, you probably all of a sudden weren't making enough or weren't making as much, or maybe you weren't putting a lot of work in and it wasn't happening. There could have been some adjusting and amending with partners and relationships. It's not over. So, but as it goes into Libra, you may find that you come to some sort of agreement with your relationships. You come into understanding. Maybe they put in a little bit of work this time. In Libra, it's very different. So that's just on the first. Then also on the first, Mercury moves into Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is a very optimistic sign. It's a higher learning. It wants to make the unknown known. Mercury comes with the message, and this is going to be in your 8th house. But because it's conjunct Jupiter, see this Jupiter right here? So they're going to be talking, they're conversing. And so with them speaking, I feel like Mercury's bringing a message about this goal that you've been working on with relationships. And I feel like that could be connected to this Venus. Like maybe you've been putting a lot of work in, or maybe you finally decided, okay, maybe I should give a little, maybe I can do this, or maybe we can work this out a different way. Whatever this is, you may find that it surprises you that they do more than you think they're going to do. That's what I'm getting. So that's just on the first. Then on the 6th, another big aspect that's going to be going on, another big thing that's going to be going on is these nodes, the nodal axis. So the north node and the south node, wherever the north node is, the south node is always exactly opposite. On the 6th, they are going to be changing signs as well. So it's going to go into Cancer. That's the north node, which means the south node is going into Capricorn, right? Now, for the next year and a half, a little bit more than a year and a half, you're going to find yourself more involved, because the north node is where your path is. The north node is what you're trying to experience more of, what you're trying to become more of, more of what's going to help you grow, what you wanted to experience in this lifetime, right? So with the north node moving into your 3rd house, you're going to find over this next year and a half that dealing with neighbors, dealing with coworkers, dealing with siblings, dealing with even family, dealing with the media. If your work is in the media, if your work is in writing, some sort of administrative stuff, you're going to find yourself doing more of that. Okay, so that's your north node. I am going to do the north node series. The south node, where your south node is in your 9th house. Sorry. So where your south node is in your 9th house in Capricorns. Capricorn is your brother, sister sign. So where you probably spent this last year really thinking about your perception and higher learning, maybe even delving into the occult or mysticism or astrology or runes or something, maybe even psychology, where you were doing more of that in this last year and a half, that is no longer going to be your focus. Your focus is going to be more in this house of administration and paperwork and dealing with the sort of everyday communication, like I said, siblings and coworkers and neighbors and stuff like that. So for the next year and a half, you're going to be dealing with that. But because it's in Cancer, there's this nurturing, healing thing that needs to go on in this house for you. So it'll be where the nodes are shifting. I kind of feel like for a lot of us, it's going to be, now that we know what we want, because when the North Node was in Leo, now that we know what we want, this is going to help us build upon it. Okay, that makes sense? So that's on the 6th. Then on the 7th, we have this new moon. So this new moon is going to be in Scorpio, and that again is going to be in your 7th house. You guys know that new moons are about new beginnings, but this can also be where fate, destiny, miracles step in. I apologize, I need to drink my coffee. So this is where fate, destiny, fate and destiny can step in, miracles can happen. With it being in Scorpio, I feel like this new moon is this new beginning because we have Jupiter in there. And it's right at the 29 degree. And as Jupiter leaves a house, it's made that house grow, or it's helped that house expand. And so that's when it begins to give you, if it's going to gift you, because it's been in Scorpio, so it's kind of not really comfortable in Scorpio. It still will give you, it's just going to gift you something. Maybe you've already gotten it, maybe you'll be getting it, but some of you will be getting it at this new moon, and the new moon you'll feel for a couple of weeks. So the new moon in Scorpio, this is something that you already know of. This is something that you've been working on. This is sort of a goal, and I feel like it has to do with this Jupiter. So that happens on the 7th. You have the new moon, but what you also have is Uranus, okay? So on the 7th, when you have this new moon, you have Uranus that moves into your 12th house, right? And so there's something that's completing. Uranus likes to shift. This is this inner stuff because it's retrograde. Uranus is retrograde if you look here. So it's this inner stuff that you've been working on. And then Uranus will shift something to complete something, to end something. There could be a relationship that's ending. Maybe you're ending one relationship, beginning another relationship. I do see that for some of you. Maybe you're ending one business partnership and beginning a new one. Whatever these goals that you've been working on this whole year, Uranus is going to shift this, but it likes to shift. It likes to shock and awe so that it can liberate you. And so just watch out for that on that day. As the new moon comes in, as the new beginning comes in, there is something that's going to be completing. There is something that maybe something that you were working on behind the scenes. That could be shifting. That could be completing. You could have, I mean, you guys are already very spiritual, so I feel like you have very prophetic dreams anyway. So you could be getting some inspiration in prophetic dreams, but I don't feel like when a sign all of a sudden their 12th house gets active, and they get a lot of their inspiration is very profound because they don't get it very often, or they don't remember it very often. You guys, I feel like you have this a lot where it's very prophetic, or you kind of know, you're kind of dealing with your stuff in your dreams, and you get inspirations, and you get messages from the other world or the dimensions, your loved ones. So I don't feel too much of that. I do feel some of that where you may get some inspiration, some messages, but for the most part, I feel like it's either something you've been working on behind the scenes that gets shifted, or it's a completion of something for this beginning to come in. Okay, so just look for that. That's on the 7th. Then on the 8th, Jupiter changes signs. So Jupiter has been in Scorpio for a year. It is going to move into its own sign. It loves this sign. It feels comfortable in this sign. Jupiter is the teacher, the guru, the expander. Jupiter loves to gift. It's the manifester, right? It wasn't so wherever Jupiter, or every sign, or every planet, comet, star, whatever house they're in, they have to play by that sign's house's rules. So it had to, in Scorpio, where our lessons, our expansion came from some sort of tension, some sort of pain, some sort of chaos, some sort of crisis even maybe. where those lessons came from that, because that's Scorpio peeling back that onion, peeling everything out, and just when you thought you had it, there was more to peel, and there was another layer and another layer, right? And this caused pain. This, for some of you, it caused disruption. It caused, you know, angst, and it caused tension, and some of you chaos, and some of you crisis. It is now moving into Sagittarius, where it's no longer going to do that. In Sagittarius, Sagittarians are very optimistic. Sagittarians are about the higher mind. Sagittarians are about going and finding the secrets to the world and grounding them and bringing them back, right? Making the unknown known. So our lessons are going to be very different as Jupiter moves into Sagittarius. It's going to be gifting a lot in here. The lessons are going to be very different. Where it was in Scorpio about, can I actually do this thing? How do I even do this thing? And every time I try to do this thing, another layer is peeled back, and I got to deal with some emotion. I got to blah, 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 like all of that. In Sagittarius, you already know what you want pretty much. And this is more about building in that and gifting you so that you can do that, right? So I am going to do the Jupiter series, Jupiter and Sagittarius series, but as Jupiter moves into here, it's got the moon that it's talking to, and then it's got Mercury that it could bring a message about where you're going with this, right? For you guys, this is in your 8th house. So this is other people's money. This is other people's resources. So if there was something that you've been trying to create, like you finally got focused and knew what you wanted to do, and you're like, okay, I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to go on sabbatical, and or I'm going to go travel the world, or like something that you focused on and tried to do. Jupiter is now going to help you in this 8th house with the resources. Maybe your loved one, maybe your partner, maybe your spouse is the one actually getting a really, really good job, a really, really stable job, so that you can do your thing, right? So this is other people's money. You could be dealing with inheritance. You could be dealing with divorce. You could be dealing with insurances or taxes, something like that. But this is going to be very optimistic, okay? So, but that's, I mean, Jupiter's just beginning. It's just starting in that sign. So congratulations to everyone. This is going to be a much better year than it has been in 2018. 2018 wasn't too bad. Wasn't even as bad as 2017, but this is more about building on what we kind of know that we want, kind of. We're almost there. By January, we're going to have to commit to something. Like, yeah, by January, we're going to have to commit to something. And I'll be putting those out too. So on the 16th, Mars moves out of Aquarius and into Pisces. So Mars moving out of Aquarius into Pisces is in your 11th house. This is your house of groups. This is your house of networking. This is your house of the internet and influential people. This is the house of gains. So with Mars moving into there, it's going to be talking to Neptune in like a week later. But Mars moving into there is going to sort of, I would say, because we're going to have Mercury retrograde, to be very careful when Mars moves into this house for you as to what you say to others, okay? Just be careful to soften the blow for others, because you may turn somebody off, or you may irritate them, or they may just hear you wrong, because we're going to be in Mercury retrograde. But I feel like Mars has that energy to sort of go, 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 go. And when you're dealing with groups, once it gets close to Neptune, it'll be better. But when it first starts in there, you may have this like, okay, I got to tell them off, or I got to tell them something, or I got to like, or they may ask you a question, and then you just tell them, but it offends them, right? So just be careful with Mars in this 11th house. And then on that same day, this is when Venus goes retrograde. So I will say this, with Venus in your 6th house of daily activity, of health and well-being, and this being your ruling planet, it'll begin to gift you whatever it is that you've been working on. This isn't anything new. This is something you've been working on. This is something that you know about. But because Mars goes in on that same day, you know, if you've been working a lot in this 10th house with Mars, it could be that you get not only the accolades, but the gains from it. Like the 10th house is accolades, but like in your work or your career. But I feel like when it goes into the 11th house, you actually get the money for it, or you actually get the group of it, or you go to the next level because Venus is going direct. But again, this is something you've been working on. This is nothing new. This is something you either kind of know that you're going to get, or you're hoping that you get, or you've been working towards getting. So that's happening on the 16th. And then the very next day, this is when Mercury goes retrograde. So Mercury going retrograde is going to be in your 8th house. Now, I can see where if you were dealing with other people's resources, maybe even your husband, your spouse, or a business partner, but it could be some sort of inheritance. Maybe you're dealing with the court system. Maybe it's a loan or a grant. Something having to do with other people's money. When Mercury retrogrades, there's going to be some amending and revising and really looking at it. But I also want to say, because Mars is in that 11th house of groups, and see how it's squaring here? Be very careful. It's squaring Neptune. So be very careful while it's retrograde as to how you present yourself to others in this goal that you're working with. That's the best way I can say it. Again, because they can misconstrue information. Maybe you meant it in one way and they heard it in a different way. Maybe you have to like do paperwork for the 5th time and you're like done because that person just doesn't seem to get it, right? Just be very careful. You can keep your boundaries, but just be very careful because it could end up blowing up in your face. And then you have to rework this whole thing and then you don't get it till the end of December, right? All right. So that's on the 17th. Then on the 19th, you have this grand water trine, okay? So this grand water trine is going to be the sun in your 7th. So something's going to clear up with this relationship, with this money issue, with this business partner, with these boundaries that you're trying to set or rework. Something's going to clear up there. It's going to give you some clarity there, but then it has to do with Chiron in your 11th house of groups again. So Chiron in the 11th house of groups, of gains, of things that you've been working with. And that's why I'm saying with this Mercury retrograde for you guys, remember Chiron is that old wound, and I have a video and I'll put it up at the top, that you have to work through. It's like, no matter what I do, no matter how many times I do it differently, I still end up at the same freaking place and I'm tired of it. Like, I just can't figure this one out, right? That's Chiron. It's this old wound. It could stem from other lifetimes. It could stem from when you were a baby, like early years, and you don't even realize it. But Chiron, you have to work through. So there's something in that with groups and relationships moving towards this north node, the north node in your 3rd house, sorry. So, like, I feel like for some of you, it could be like, how many times do I have to freaking do this paperwork, or how many times do I have to go to the court, or how many times do I have to talk to this person, or like, I feel like you're frustrated, but you can turn this around, take the higher perspective, understand that we all have our issues, we all have things that we're growing in. You never know that the person that you, I'm getting this, like, you never know, like, the person that you could be so frustrated at because they couldn't get their stuff together. Like, you have no idea what they're going through. Like, I'm seeing they're about to lose their home. They've already lost their spouse. And I mean death. Lost their spouse. Their children maybe they lost a child 5 years earlier. Maybe they're like holding on by like a string, holding on. And all they can do is make it to work every day and try. Like, you never know what people are going through. So that's why I'm saying with this grand trine, it can be a gift for you. I felt on an emotional level, but take the higher perspective in some of this. I'm not saying everybody, this is just what I'm getting. There will be some clarity as to where you're moving in this next. It's going to give you an indication about where you're going with this north node. That's what I'll say, because it's a grand trine, so it's an opportunity to sort of kick off. And that was just a scenario. That's not everybody, but yeah, I mean, they had me see that and showed me that for a reason. Again, that's not for everybody. Then on the 22nd, on the 22nd, we have this full moon in Gemini. So this full moon, well, 22nd for some, 23rd for me. So we have this full moon in Gemini, which is in your 6th house. So there's something you're releasing. There's something you're letting go. Maybe it's a divorce. Maybe it's that you're having to let go of some valuables or something that you value or some money that you made. Maybe you're having to let go of some of that. But, excuse me, when you look, the full moons are about the sun being as opposite of the moon, where it shines light onto an area in this house that you hadn't seen before. So it's going to clear something up so that you can release, right? And with it being in Gemini, and I'll do my new moon, full moon video, but with it being in Gemini, there's this chance of understanding, of learning, of being happy. Because Gemini likes to be happy, okay? So that's all I'll say about the full moon. But remember, when you release some stuff, this allows you to have room to be able to have the miracles, the destiny, the fate to come in, okay? So then on the 24th, 25th for me, this is when Neptune goes direct, right? So Neptune goes direct, but it's also going to be talking to Mars. Now, Mars and Neptune don't usually do well together. I mean, you would think that they don't do well together. Well, most times they don't do well together. But when these two are in particular houses together and they're conjunct, you can have huge stars. You can have huge celebrities, huge public figures, huge, like I said before, people like Michael Jackson. They have this Mars-Neptune conjunct. So there's other people off the top of my head. I think Marilyn Monroe. I can't remember who else. There's other people. Anyway, so Mars and Neptune. Mars is about me. I'm getting what I want. I want what I want. I'm going to get it now, right? Neptune is about we, the illusion, let's have everybody understand and everybody get what they want. Let's have everybody happy. And yeah, so with these two balance, me and we, in your 11th house, there could be, especially in this house for you, just because I drank that coffee, especially in the 11th house for you, if you're in the entertainment industry, if you're in the music industry, if you're in the sports industry, a dancer, yeah, public figure of some sort. The 7th, the 10th, the 11th, those houses, and even the 9th sometimes, those houses, when they have these two aspects together, if you've been working in that and you are that, like you are in the entertainment industry, you're an artist or you're a dancer, you're in the sports entertainment industry, like a football player or a baseball player or something, right? Or a musician. If you've been working towards this, when these two come together, this could be a blessing for you. You could get this big contract. You could get this big part, this big role. You could get this big contract with, I don't know, one of the football teams or baseball teams, or like something is, something can happen here. So I know that's not for everybody, but I know that there are Taurians that are, that are really good actors, actually. The Rock is one, actually. So there are Taurians that are really, really good actors. So, and you see, like, he's got that Mars, that action, he's the action character, right? Yeah, and that Neptune. So, anyway, so this is going to be in your 11th house. So whatever you've been working through, when these two come together, you could get some sort of reward, some sort of blessing, some sort of something comes through. Remember, you were working in this Chiron, and if you worked this out in this Grand Trine, you could be getting something. So that's going to sort of end out the month for you guys. Again, I'm going to do the Venus retrograde series next, and then I'm going to do the Jupiter series, and then I'm going to do the nodes, and then I will do December, okay? So be sure to hit that bell If you subscribe, be sure to hit that bell so that you know when these are coming out. And you can also follow me at Your Indigo Path on Instagram, because I'm always putting pictures there or putting whatever I'm releasing on YouTube there as well. So you can follow me on Your Indigo Path on Instagram, on IG. I'll actually have the link below. I haven't done that in a while. Okay, so let's see. Just cutting the cards. These cards do not want to cut. You guys need to like take a breather. Okay, so what's happening in November? You have the Tower. I feel like some of you are going to make it. Like some of you, your life is going to shift. Yeah, some of your life is going to shift. I don't know why I am feeling a lot of like public life. So the Tower is about a shift coming. The Tower is about, in tarot, it's whatever hasn't been built on a solid foundation must come crumbling down. So how solid is your foundation? And whatever isn't solid, it's going to come tumbling down so that you can rework this, so that you can build it stronger, right? And so in the month of November, I feel like a lot of you have shifting, new changes, new things. Your life is going to be very different than it's been. You kind of already seen this coming, and a lot of you are prepared for it because, you know, it's a little bit unsettling. As much as you want this to happen, it's a little bit unsettling that it's actually could possibly happen. Like I feel like I want it to happen, but what if it does happen, right? So this could be talking about relationships. This could be talking about your work. This could be talking about your career. This could be talking about family. This could be talking about friends. This could be talking about business partners. Whatever your focus has been, this is what this Tower is about. I don't feel like it's just one thing. I feel like it's almost like a domino effect. One thing goes, the next, the next, the next, okay? But it's not that you're not prepared. You are prepared for this. I feel like you're prepared for this. So what's their advice in this situation? You have the Chariot. So remember, when these things happen, their advice is, when these things do happen, remember you have choices to make. Don't become where it's like you're the victim, or this thing happened so I have to do this. Remember that you are now in control of your life. Remember that you have worked very, very hard to take control of your life. And so they're saying, don't stop now. Stand in your convictions and make your choices when this Tower comes shifting, right? Don't get into that place of this always happens, or now that this happens, I have to do this. You always have a choice. And they're saying, don't get stuck in the middle where you're like, I don't know what to do. You kind of already know what to do. You're just afraid to take the step to do it, some of you. Not everybody, but some of you. So they're saying, remember, stand in your convictions, make your choices. We trust that we got your back, and that all you got to do, because we're dealing with free will, all you got to do is put the energy into it and say that that's what you want, and they're going to help you come through this, okay? So how does that month end out? You have the Two of Pentacles. It looks like you will be balancing these things that you've been working on, these goals that you've been getting. I don't feel like I don't feel like some of you, this shift I'm hearing, like I'm getting this fear. I don't want you to feel fear, because the shift could be something great, and you kind of know that it's going to be great, but you're still there's a little fear there, because it's like, oh, my life is going to change. I'm not going to be able to stay home on the weekends. You know, I'm going to now have to be out and about. I have to do these things, right? It's like, it's a good change for a lot of you. So this Two of Pentacles to me is about balancing those. Like, now that you got what you wanted, now that you've gotten these gifts, now that the shift has come, now that you know where you stand with people and you have these relationships and you are in charge of your life, now it's about actually building on them and doing them and trying to make them and incorporate them into your daily life, which is that 6th house, right? That Venus. So, and that Libra, very balanced, and these are Pentacles. These are things that you've worked on. These are things that you wanted. These are things that you're going to nourish. Okay? So my gorgeous ones, have a wonderful, wonderful month. I'm very, very happy for you guys, and I will be getting the rest of the videos out soon. Love you, love you, love you. Bye.